mean, this is shortened. Camera foreshortening. It's got to be a good 4 feet, this. I hope for his sake that it's not. Just inside the right edge for this part. He needs perfect pace. Well done.
I actually think he's a better putter than Spieth. Rickie Fowler.
Particularly from 6 feet?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Maybe not from 20 and 30 on today's evidence.
Working very hard today, Paul Casey. Going to try and dig in.
So Adam Scott, having made his first birdie of the day, and it was a remarkable one too at the 9th, has just gone bogey, bogey, bogey. Now 3 over. Deep trouble.
And then they have to face this.
Well, in the old days, this was a par 5, now a par 4, 505 yards. An array of bunkers down the right and a couple in the eyesight on the left, which is really the aiming point today, the 2 bunkers on the left. It actually is a splendid view from up on top of the tee there. The drive downhill, it's kind of an inviting looking one, but today it's a bit fearsome.
Yeah, there it is. Lovely looking hole. Actually, those first two bunkers, which are only 253, well, 62 to clear, but probably about 258 from where they're teeing off from. If you push it, those are in play today.
Okay, definitely. Yeah.
And the rough on the right is very thick.
Well, wind into them off the right. So we're going to aim on the left-hand edge of those right-hand bunkers. That started left, going left. Ooh, wow.
Well, he's not getting home in 2 from there.
No. Yep, arm stopped, club head took over. Closed club face, ball started straight left. Now, it has driven beautifully today, Fowler. Needs another good one here. Steady the ship. Needs to keep turning. Needs to keep turning.
Not sure if he cleared those bunkers or just missed them to the left, but I don't think he would have carried that second one. Now, what's he thinking?
Help! Well, those bunkers on the right definitely in play. His only saving grace here is the wind is off the right. Might help a fraction. That's better.
Then he hits one like that. Magnificent.
Thinking about Adam Scott, I think some of the tee shots that he's hit, when the wind's been off his left, he's not controlled it anywhere near as well as when the wind has been off the right. When it's off the right, I think he feels he's got a bit more time to get the club head in.
Any handicapped golfer would sympathise with that. Charlie Hoffman has made a birdie at the 10th. 3 under, level par for the day. Rory McIlroy. I suppose, I mean, he's obviously going to be looking for more birdies, but even if he parred his way in from where he is now, it would be a good day's work.
Well, if McIlroy shot 67, yes, and he needs to finish the round off to give himself some confidence, because the press, the media have really been on his back over the last 2 weeks, the fact that he's missed cuts, and if he can silence them a little bit with a really good day, then he may well get on a run and could be the man to beat this week. But he's got to finish the round off, can't afford to lose the concentration now.
That's amazing. Lee Westwood has had a 2 at the 5th. Following in Sergio Garcia.
Only the third man then.
Correct. Isn't that extraordinary?
That is.
I mean, it's
a bit like waiting for a bus.
Yeah. No word. O'Neill's not having such a good day today. 1 over. 3 bogeys, no birdies. Just had a par 5 at the 15th. But Zach Johnson, on the same score at 1 over, has had 4 birdies. Pablo Larrazabal on the 2 over mark, level today. 2 birdies, 2 bogeys. Carl Stanley, a couple of drop shots early in his round at the 1st and the 4th. There's Beef first to finish with a 74. Garcia at the 3 over. Masters champion flirting with a missed cut. .83 players now on 3 over. It's moving inexorably towards a 4 over cut. Paul Casey's still got 246 yards to go. Adam Scott with a good drive has still got a long way to go.
Got to be that whale high one, doesn't it?
Casey's in there somewhere. Looks as though he may be getting some sort of ruling. Guy watching in the Titleist cap looks a bit like Eddie Pepperell.
Referee with every group to ensure the players never have to wait for a ruling. Ten other roving referees in buggies going around the course, offering extra advice, keeping the pace of play moving along.
78 referees from 23 countries, and of course the R&A are always very keen to promote the rules around the world. They run annual rules courses where referees do come from every corner of the globe.
Yes, plenty of other referees though on hand, apart from those 78 to go with all the groups. And they've had to pass pretty strong examination tests, haven't they, to make sure that they meet the standard.
Well, you not only have to do the R&A course or the USGA course, but then you have to work your way through the ranks, prove you can do it for real. And Casey's just trying to get it back to the course. Still going to have quite a long third shot.
I'm always so impressed with the R&A officials when they quote a rule without looking at the rule book, and it's Rule 34 2C, subsection 3.
I think that's rather sad.
Adam Scott has done pretty well from a long way back.
Did pretty well too to make 4. Not an easy shot. Not an easy 2-putt from the back.
Fowler, 215 yards to the flag.
Not a very inviting pin to go at though, is it? Going with a strong draw. Aim it down the right. Ooh, and he didn't miss the bunker.
Why doesn't he use the full club? Always goes down the grip an inch or two.
Well, you got more control of the club, the head. And, you know, you're trying to knock it down.
No, but he always grips it there, doesn't he?
Well, not always. Well, I don't think always. It might be an inch, but sometimes it may be a bit more than that, 2 or 3 inches. Anthony Kim used to almost virtually always grip it very low. Lydia Ko does that.
Well, third shot now for Casey in out of position, ball below his feet, into right to left wind. Not much going for him here. Tugged that one as well. This is not a happy birthday present at the moment. And this is what we were saying before, unless you're on your A game, we're talking small margins all the time, but 1 degree error at impact is 30 yards at 250. But in this sort of wind, it's magnified. So, I mean, you've got to make only a small error, and you can be made to look very silly. And when you think of the undulations around the greens here, in particular here at Birkdale, where they're like waves on the sea, circular motion all the way around, and then they're covered with pretty thick rough. It's a very stern test.
This features very high up, I think, on most players' list of top courses. It's Paul Casey's favourite open venue, and it is a very fair test. I think that's one of the reasons why. It's just pretty hard today. Close to the sea, but for the most part you don't see it. The Irish Sea out there.
It looks quite a compact layout there, doesn't it? But when you're walking around it, it's a massive piece of ground. It's relatively flat, not quite as undulating. I mean, it was very undulating at Port Stewart earlier on this year, but there's enough hills there to make it a good, strong walk.
That looked magnificent on TV.
Yeah, well, it was.
Yeah.
But of course, what that course doesn't have, which this course does, is fairway bunkering. And it's so good here, the bunkering, that's so strategic. They're in such good points, whatever wind you play it in, and there's hardly any fairway bunkers at Port Stewart at all. And of course, it needs that. Modern day players, they can hit it so far. So often you go to a course and the bunkering is outdated. Here, for somehow it doesn't seem that it's ever outdated.
Just showing you how the wind can affect play differently around the course. Readings taken from different positions, different strengths and slightly different directions.
Do you think that's the dunes, the way funnels?
Yeah, probably.
You get hollows out there, you get areas where it's protected, and wind whistles round those dunes. It have a big impact.
Casey started the day in 4th place, and now, he's in danger of perhaps flirting with the cut. He's already played 4. looks like a double bogey at least. That will drop him to 3 over par if he does double.
He's got that sinking feeling.
Well, 3 over, if he does go to 3 over, would be outside the cut line at the moment. I mean, it will get in, but as the scoring is going up all the time. But +3 at the moment, tied for 72nd.
Yeah, I would say it's going to be at least 4 over.
Yeah, good pace there. Adam Scott, come on, keep stretching. That's lovely putt. Steady the ship.
It's ironic, isn't it? Having battled his way around, suddenly on a really hard hole, he's played it well. He could do with holding this one. Chipping it over a little swale onto the edge of the green. Oh, magnificent.
We have our very own Nostradamus sitting amongst us.
You've called me some
done.
pretty unpleasant things over the years, but not sure about that. But that was going in at some pace, proving the worth of leaving the flagstick in. Absolutely fair and square in the middle. Thank you very much. I always thought I'd make that.
Good bunker shot from Rickie Fowler. Just stay focused. Doesn't waste much time with these, and they always seem to go into the middle of the cup. It must be nice just to stand over a putt and feel good. You know exactly what I'm talking about, Julian. Don't look at me like that. Because I don't think either of us feel very particularly confident when we stand over a 3-4 footer.
No. Well, Scott stops the rot of 3 bogeys in a row to remain at 3 over. Casey getting away with a remarkable 5, and that must feel like a par or better. Having hacked his way down the course, or down the hole anyway. It's his 6th bogey of the day, though. He was saying if he won this championship, he would definitely rejoin the European Tour. That's a long way off now. It's looking a rather strong American leaderboard. Kuchar, Spieth, Koepka, Watson, Justin Thomas going out later. Charlie Hoffman has dropped a shot at the 11th to slip back to 2 under. On to the 14th. 193 yards today to a flag well towards the back on the right-hand side. Wind into and off the left, so makes that flag a little bit more accessible. And the practice round here, Justin Rose thought there was a strong wind into, and he hit the 3 iron and hit it straight over the back. But it's, well, it's potentially, I think it need at least a 4 iron, depending how you're going to hit it. Just fantastic crowds out here. It is known as the Gulf Coast. There are a lot of lovely courses around here and a lot of very keen golfers, and of course, importantly, a lot of chimney pots. Awful lot of people live in the area. Just running down into one of those swales that makes the next shot much more difficult.
You know, it's just very much a feel for it, you know what I'm saying?
What is 88 middle?
Yeah.
Steve Williams saying to his man, it's very much a field shot. Absolutely right.
Yeah, it's a flat one, and there's no question about it.
I don't think it can go long.
It's just quite straight up.
Ooh, my word, that wind is getting up. And this is what's so difficult when you get a strong wind and then the big gusts.
Well, yesterday the wind was in the opposite direction and they were protected from the dunes, but here they can feel the full force as it comes into their face off the left.
But let's take a look at this shot. But yeah, I think that's going to go right too. Oh no! Oh, right at it. What a shot! Looked like the wind was going to take it. What a fantastic shot! But you're right. I think the Championship Committee have done a fantastic job. They've set the pins. They've obviously predicted the wind will be off the southeast today, and they've set the pins accordingly. It's very fair. You see here, it's back right. I mean, if they put the pin left here,
No chance.
no chance. But they've done that on every hole.
Yeah. They've given them a chance to work the ball towards the hole. They've still got to hit a really good shot, otherwise, you know, they're going to have trouble. But if they get it wrong, of course, they'll short-side themselves and be left with a tough pitch. But couldn't agree with you more. Just talking about the cut, looking at the last few opens, 149, 146, 149, 146 has been the halfway cut, so depending on the par, par's changed a little bit from 72 to 70.
Well,
So-
that's the last few here.
Yes, just the last few at Birkdale. So we're always expecting fairly high cuts here.
Well, they were lucky to have a reasonably gentle day yesterday with receptive greens. That was just as Steve Williams said to him, this is very much a field shot, and he felt it. Beautiful.
Got a funny feeling it might have played for a little bit of a thin there. It's almost a little played for thin shot. He caught it almost on the second groove from the bottom, which not a bad way to play the hole or bring it off if you can do it.
Very groovy. There's no question it's a day for the ball strikers, the people who just can manoeuvre the ball, players with great imagination. Bubba Watson has just had a birdie at the 6th to go to 4 under, one off the lead.
I think in these conditions it's very important to play the first half dozen holes and you get a feel for the course. And if you do that early on, you tend to get I know what's required, you know how to play the hole. If you behind the 8 ball at the start, get off to a bad start, then you're second guessing yourself the entire way around.
Which makes what Adam Scott is doing all the more commendable, really, because he appeared to be breaking up on the rocks.
Could do with another minor miracle here, Casey. Long bunker shot from the front of the green. massive bunkers either. They're just little pits, but cause you so much trouble. That's a very confident shot, and that's the nearest he's had to a tap in all day. Well, apart from the last hole where he didn't have to tap it in at all.
That was fantastic. Brilliant shot.
He hit that really hard too.
Fowler might get an assist from Casey's ball. Oh, he doesn't need it.
Are you in favour of that, players leaving the ball?
I used to do that when I was playing. Warren, I really don't have a problem with it. I didn't have a problem with it when I was playing.
I know it's a part of the game where a lot of players feel that, in fairness to the other people on the course, those balls should be marked. They shouldn't be given the bonus of having a little backstop. But I suppose it's all part of the game. 50-50. I think if you asked some of the players, they say it should be marked, and others say, well, they don't mind.
You want them to get on with it, though, and it all takes longer every time you step up and mark it.
Plus, how often have you actually seen a player do that and the ball actually hit the other player's ball? I don't think I've even seen it once.
Well, a couple of absolutely brilliant pars. Now, Adam Scott for the birdie.
I wonder what would happen there if it hit a ball and went in off. I wonder if that would change people's minds.
Rubber the green.
That's if Adam can make the two.
Oh, that's a shame. It could just as easily strike the other side of the ball and go further away.
Yep, absolutely. Two over so far this week for the par threes and the par fours. Adam Scott 1 under for the fives, but remember there are only 2 par fives on the course. Harder to make.
Which he's about to go to now. The first par 5, the 15th, which is playing downwind today. These guys will reduce it to... They will take it over those left bunkers with a driver. And they could actually... Well, they don't. That's not the line. But they'll fly those right bunkers. I believe it's... Is it straight downwind?
I think it should be a bit off the left
Bit
as
off
well,
the left.
if it's out of the southeast.
Yeah, I think if they hit a solid tee shot and ride the wind off the left, they're going to be hitting 8 and 9 irons in for their seconds, or maybe even wedges. What's the stroke average?
Do you know, amazingly, between 1983 and this year, there've only been, I mean, in other words, prior to yesterday, from 1983, there were only 9 eagles on here.
Wow.
Which are not very many. How many were there yesterday?
Eagles yesterday. On this hole, precisely none. 9 on 17, though.
Look how far left Fowler is aiming. He's going to ride the wind here. No, now those bunkers are in play.
Get right.
Most of the time, though, this hole plays into the prevailing wind, doesn't it? So it's much harder to hit in 2.
That went straight into the lady's chest. Bounced down in front of her. She didn't blink. I say it's a game of inches. I mean, the difference between being hit sort of just above the sternum and getting one in the mouth is massive.
Well, we think it's a little bit more behind and from the left. But Scott aiming a long way left here has...
Actually, maybe it is off the left, judging by that ball flight. Yeah, I think it may have courted. Certainly, both those players, Fowler and Scott.
Yeah, well, the southeasterly is pretty much straight off the left.
Well, those first two tee shots means it's going to be quite hard for both those players just to make par, but see if Casey can find the fairway.
Yeah, they certainly won't be hitting short irons in then for their seconds.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, where would you rather be, rough or bunker? Not easy.
It's quite strange for Casey to do that, don't you think, having seen the other two? I mean, that's not a wind that you can fight. Would you not just start it way down the left and ride it?
Yeah, I think he was in a way trying to do that, but...
We started it much too straight.
Yeah. Trouble is when you see what's left and it's not very inviting either. You think, well, I don't want to go left, I don't really want to go right. There is no bailout.
You've got the 1860 club left, you can always pop in there for a quick one.
Well, or you could play it as a genuine par 5, I mean a serious par 5, and lay it back and lay it back again and hit a much longer third shot, but that's making it super tough.
The 1860 club, because that was when this championship started. And there is an enormous enclosure up the left-hand side where I haven't actually been in, but I presume you can pop in and get refreshments. I don't know if it's open to the public or whether it's something you contribute to. I'm not aware of its existence before now. Whether it's something new, I don't know.
But there's rather more people playing and attending the championship this year than there were in 1860. How many was there? Was it just half a dozen players in the first Open? 8, maybe?
Yeah, played over 12 holes. All the first. How many were played at Presswood?
First 12, I believe.
12.
Yeah, Willie Park won the first one, didn't he?
Yeah.
Isn't it 3 rounds
Willie
of 12?
Park Senior.
In fact, Tom Morris Senior did 3 pretty good scores actually by today's standards, 58, 59 and 59 for the fact that he came second, but of course over 12 holes, slightly different.
So 59s have been shot.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, imagine playing in these conditions back then with the equipment they were using. The agronomy was, I'm sure, quite different then too. In tweed jackets, you know.
Sheep were the main method.
The boars.
No, keeping the grass short.
Oh, keeping the, yeah. And what were the boars they were using then? Was it the
Featheries.
Well, they're the featheries then. When was the
Something
cut of percher?
Much later, I think. But they used to hole out, and literally it was a club length from where the hole was, where they teed up again on a bit of sand, and off they would go, and it would be pretty rough ground, and just a dozen rules. Didn't make the bunkers, so wouldn't have made the bunkers, Rickie Fowler, and not a bad lie, this.
Trying to hit that too. What's the run out over the bunkers? Orange it over, yeah, if you get over by that guy in orange, you're looking at 1, so 120. Okay. How far is that hole? You have 257 all time. that left green side bunker.
Where there and let it drift right off of it.
So where? Okay, so where are you trying to? I'm just trying to see
Perfect
where
one
you're trying
ends on the 10th.
to. Yeah. Okay.
Give it that?
Yep.
It's quite an interesting discussion on that. Just player and caddy trying to identify where he actually wants to hit this in between all sorts of bunkers and trying to lay it up to an exact point from a lie like this. That's quite hard. Too much grass bothering them there, though, I've got to say. Well, I think the answer to my question, which I set myself just a little while ago, I think I would be rather where Rickie Fowler was than where Paul Casey, but perhaps not where Adam Scott is. Could advance at 100 yards, 125, 30 yards down the fairway would be okay.
Sounded as they really clipped that on. Good contact. Hope he's not gone too far. And another bunker. We'll find out in just a minute.
It's got a pretty straight-faced club there, Warren.
It's been pretty unlucky, hasn't it? Of all the parts on the course you can find that are pretty thick, when he's been a bit wayward, he's either been in really thick grass or he's been in a ditch.
He's got a 6 or 7 iron, it looks like, in his hands. It's certainly not a wedge. I think he's thinking he can get this quite close. Maybe not. Oh, there it is. Cut's gone to 3 and 4 over, not that far away.
Yeah, there are only 96 players on 4 over. 5 over is not impossible.
No, absolutely not.
Actually, just having a look at a few groups ahead. How about Ross Fisher's finish? The moment he's just gone eagle, birdie, birdie at 15, 16 and 17 to be 1 over for the championship. So from being well outside the cut line.
And playing alongside him, Wiesberger's gone birdie, birdie, birdie on the same holes to be on 4 over.
He might need one more birdie. Maybe par would be good enough. Could be 4 or 5.
Ernie Els in that group is also 1 over.
Yeah, I'm thinking 9 o'clock. In front of
Playing the last.
Yeah. If I was going at it and trying to draw it a couple of yards, it should have then finished just right of it.
Yeah.
Lady in pink there.
Yeah.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. You know, no risk, not too much spin on it.
Maybe get the lady in pink. I hope it comes up short.
Wouldn't 9 o'clock be behind him?
Well, 9 o'clock is where the wind is coming from, yeah.
Oh, yes.
That's a good shot.
Just as well he understands the clock face better than you do. only one player has got in anywhere near par so far today. Jamie Lovenbach has finished with a 69, the level par. Everyone else who's finished is well over par for the round.
Not a great angle to come in from this position for Adam. It's okay. See how gusty it is out there when you just look at the flagstick. It's upright 1 minute and then it's being bent over and then it's upright and then being bent over again. And that is really a tough wind to judge. It's not constant. Good line in for Fowler from where he is. Advanced the ball quite a long way from that lie, and he's not made use of his good fortune there.
Rickie Fowler's caddy, Joey Scoron. They used to play junior golf together. Been friends for a long time.
He was 2 times a Walker Cup player as an amateur, 2007, 2009. 3 times a Ryder Cup player. Had to wait until 2016 before he savoured the pleasure of winning, or being on a winning team.
He was a surprising captain's pick at Celtic Manor back in 2010. How old would he have been then? 7 years ago.
Only just turned pro.
Yeah, that's right. And he got a great half point against Eduardo Molinari in the singles. I think he won the last 4 holes, if my memory serves me correctly.
Well, a chance to get to 2 over for Adam. Let's reverse the trend at the moment. So 4 over for today, 3 over for the championship. Just at the moment inside the current cut line, tie for 68th. 70 in ties to go through, but in a way, not that far from the lead.
Fowler remains 2 over. Ross Fisher, who made an eagle here, a rare bird indeed, and Birdie has bogeyed the last for a 72 to finish at 2 over. Els parred it for a 73, 1 over, and Wiesberger parred it for a 75 to be 4 over, and I'm sure that would be good enough.
Chance to get one back for Paul here if he can get this one in. Real birdie opportunity from this. Hasn't had too many for a birdie from that sort of range. Good use of it.
First of the day. Happy birthday.
See, his six back, 500 is leading. He's over par, but
I think that chip in on 13 really just changed his attitude. Even though it was a bogey, it was a fabulous bogey, and just gave him a little kick. And, done well.
Do you think the lead will be as low as 500 at the end of today? Might be, because Kuchar's playing well. He's only got 4 left to play. Watson dropped a shot at the 7th after early birdies. Rory McIlroy's gone out in 31. 3 under par. Austin Connolly bogeyed the last for a 72 to be in at 1 under. $12 local time, still an awful lot of players to get going. 4:30 before the last men are away. Over 4 hours. Mark Leishman 2 over through 8. John Rahm also 2 over through 8. Rahm started bogey out in 36, did manage a birdie at the 5th. Jason Day, who seemed to be getting it back together, had a double bogey 6th, so the 16th, now 2 over. Garcia also on those at 2 over.
It's a long walk back from the 15th green to the 16th tee, playing in pretty much the same direction, so the wind once again off the left side. But there is a lot of room left here, and that rough is not too heavy on the left of this fairway on 16, and where that pin is today, coming in from the left side, is not a terrible place to finish up. Pin back right once again. They put it in a friendly spot.
only 5 birdies here today so far. Interestingly, we haven't had a birdie today on the 8th, and there hasn't been a birdie today on the 18th. Only 1 birdie today on 14, so there are an awful lot of holes where the players haven't made birdies. In fact, only 2 holes on the course, the 5th, which is a short 4, and the 15th, has yielded birdies into double figures. All the other holes, you're single figures for birdies, so very few red numbers out there by the players, and we're past midday. We've had 6 hours of play. I guess it's tough.
The group ahead, Sullivan, Loughton and Lipsky still on the fairway. Lipsky's really struggling today. He's missing the cut. He's 2 under par at the start of the day. He is 7 over par today, 5 over. Needs to finish, well, par could still get in, but I think he'd rather make 1 more birdie, get to 4 over.
Don't want to be waiting on any tee, but 16 over the years has proved a very tough hole. Always been hard to hit this green in regulation, whether it's into the wind or downwind. This is the hole, of course, made famous way back in 1961 by Arnold Palmer, the late great legend of golf, Palmer, who made a fantastic shot from the right-hand brambles and bushes to knock a ball on the green and then go on to win the championship. Casey aiming down the left. Oh, that looks a belter. Ooh, that is a belter.
Doesn't want that one again. Beautiful tee shot.
Moved that tee back over the years, then they moved it further back, then they moved it further back. There is room to lengthen it even more, but into the breeze it's quite a carry onto the fairway. Next up, Fowler. Hasn't hit too many of those today. A little bit wonky.
Yeah, it's pretty wispy stuff there. Not too bad at all.
Remembered at the Open this year, both he and Roberto De Vincenzo, their signatures are on the grandstands around the 18th, having sadly both died in the past 12 months, former Open champions.
Roberto, of course, winning his Open championship at Hoylake when he'd had that horrible experience in the Masters, signed for the wrong scorecard. Perhaps should have won 2 majors. There's the plaque for Palm.
There's not much of a bush there now. He obviously destroyed most of it.
Well, I think it was the rough had grown in a lot more, and the brambles and the bushes, it was a lot bigger. A lot of it's been removed now. But the shot was into the wind, uphill. The lie was terrible. He removed bush, scrub, scramble. Anybody as strong as him wouldn't have attempted to take on the shot, but to pull it off was remarkable.
He was just a very charismatic man, but also an extremely likeable man and an absolute gent.
It's the only autograph I ever got as a young lad.
Is that right?
When he came across and played in the World Match Play Championship at Wentworth, played Neil Coles in the final, went with my father, and at the end of the match I put one of these things in, and of course Arnold signed it, and he signed so many. I have signatures on cards where I played with great players but never actually seriously gone out to get an autograph, and I still have it.
Oh, you still have it, do you? I was just going to ask you that.
Something
to treasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Treasure it. Just to see his memorial service and who turned up for that, and the speeches that were made.
There were some very good speeches. I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
Jim Nance gave a particularly good one.
He was good, wasn't he?
Yeah, the story about the state dinners that the Queen and Prince Philip attended.
So, second shot for Fowler. Wispy rough, but rough which is also tough to control the ball when you're going to an elevated green. At least the pin is at the back. Needs to aim on the left edge. Get some height on this. Ooh, pitched it a little bit too far. Obviously came out a little bit hot. And into the long grass at the back.
Yeah, he was unlucky there. He's in a horrible lie now, I think.
Scott is absolutely showing his class here, having found it, and it can happen to anyone, very difficult going out, struggling with his swing. He's finding a way of doing it, hopefully.
Next up though, Casey. Once again, ball below his feet. He's had a lot of those today. Might help him to this back right flag.
Get right hard. Get right. Get right.
Just stayed up.
That's ugly.
A lot of work. Right across that spring.
The wind. Sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to reference the wind.
No, I was just saying wind rattling on the microphones, the cameras shaking in the wind. It really is tough.
I think it's a constant 20 miles an hour now and gusting to probably close to 30. How do the meteorologists forecast the wind? I'll never be able to figure that out.
Well, they're just very clever people.
Clearly.
Spend years studying it. Getting back to Arnold Palmer, he was one of only 7 players since the Second World War who have won consecutive Open Championships. 16 players have done it in all since the championship started. But obviously in the early days there was quite a lot of repetition, but since the Second World War, Bobby Locke did it in 1949 and 1950. And of course Thompson here, actually 3 in a row. Arnold Palmer here and then the following year, when he avenged his defeat by Kel Nagel in 1960. Trevino in 71-72. Tom Watson 82-83. Tiger Woods 05 and 06. And most recently Pudrick Harrington, Carnoustie and here in 06, 07 and 08.
You're being quite repetitive too right now. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
I don't think that's very funny. And it's what Henrik Stenson is trying to do, and we'll be watching him a bit later on this afternoon. But the last 7 majors have all been won by different people. And it may well be it's 8 in a row.
Yes, which I think goes to prove at the moment no one is totally dominating the game.
Well, it's amazing, isn't it? It's only a year or 2 ago we thought there were going to be the big 3, and the big 3 have wilted.
Okay, Fowler has to use a chipping club.
Just a little hollow to go through as well, just stun it into the bank. And that's a stunning shot. Have to get the weight of this shot spot on, just to carry over the little swale. Get the right hop. Got to have good control of the club face.
It's just one of those days you don't give yourself many birdie opportunities. You hit the green, you're 60 feet away or more. Battling to 2 putt to make par.
Yeah, the flag here on 30. Near enough 20 yards here for Adam.
The wind's taken that. An extra 2-3 feet there. You could see just how the ball rolled at the end. Should have stopped before that, but must have had a gust.
Just wondering whether Paul Casey there is waiting for the players to play off the 17th tee behind them. and to the right, but the noise they make when they play might just disturb him, or the fact that they'll be walking past and clanking a little bit, so he's just going to wait. He knows there's going to be a wait on the next hole on the tee, so he might as well wait now and let them go. Must have very good hearing. I mean, the tee must be 60 yards, 70 yards back.
Yeah. I guess the wind is bringing it back in that direction towards the tee, but still.
See the little bit of difficulty he's got here. Just first part of the putt just goes over that slope, the rolling hills that you have in the edge of the greens, and it's relatively flat. So left to right overall. Well, I don't think that hanging about, waiting all the time has actually helped him here. I think that's been a big hindrance. I think he might have been better to get on with it. Let's hope he can prove me wrong and knock it in.
Your point is made, Governor. Into that part of the day now where the wind is really supposed to be getting up, gusting 30 to 35, maybe even 40 miles an hour at times. Later in the day, they're forecasting some quite heavy rain and the wind's moderating, so sort of into the early evening, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, it might get easier. Much better forecast for the weekend. Lighter winds tomorrow from the southeast, same direction. Sunshine and showers. And more sunshine and showers on Sunday, but the wind from the opposite direction. Scott. Oh, another one. Actually turning away from the hole at the end. Slips to 4 over. And there's no question that it's going to be at least a 4 over cut, because that's now tying 78th. It's moving rapidly in that direction. Casey, for the most part, has been pretty firm with these. Firm and in the middle, and well done. And he's smiled his way round, despite slipping from 4 under to 1 over with just the one birdie.
Yeah, I kind of get the feeling, I mean, if he can finish 4-4, be 4 over for the round, it's probably going to be the average score of the day.
Always a popular figure, Rickie Fowler. Big cheer for his par. Stays 2 over. Dominic Boulay has taken his leave. And we've been joined by Dennis Hutchinson. Hello, Hutch.
Hello to Julian and Warren. And it really has been a very difficult day for the players, but a lot of them doing very well. But that wind has been pumping.
On to the 17th, the second and last par 5. 567 yards, playing 576 today. A green that's been slightly modified from last time, 2008. That bunker on the right has come into the green a little bit more. They've taken out the more severe slopes and they've made a deeper swale at the back of the green. Wind into and off the right, making it a much tougher hole. Prevailing wind would be helping off the right, which is perfect for the dog leg left. There's going to be a feral wait, I think, for the players on the tee here.
Rickie Fowler was the first player to make a move in this group in terms of making birdies. An excellent 3 on the 6, 2 majestic shots to earn him that birdie. And on the very next hole, just off the edge of the par 3 7th, and certainly the longest putt of the day by the 3 players we've been watching, in for a magnificent 2.
Adam Scott, who'd been really battling his swing all the way, missed the 9th fairway miles right, hit a brilliant second and converted the putt for his first birdie to be out in 35.
Casey, bit of an up and down day, had a long wait to make his first birdie of the day there on 15. And looking to try and make another birdie here on 17 if he can get the tee shot away. Demanding one through the big sand dunes, right and left. Into the wind. No mean par 5 today. Not going to carry the dunes.
I mean, I think it's playing as long as it can play, 576 yards into the wind. I mean, it's a healthy hole.
.287 to clear the right-hand dune. I don't think there's any way that Rickie can do that, but if he can just miss the dune on the right, get a little bit of chase on it, maybe get past the other one. It's overcooked, I think. Bit of a chicane fairway, isn't it?
Mm.
Sometimes when it's like this and the wind switches round and it's not the prevailing wind for the hole, you just wonder how on earth you can hit the fairway because the fairway's the wrong shape for the wind.
No, that's never been an easy drive well above the fairway anyway, so it's an awkward one. Here's one of the best swings ever in the game, Adam Scott.
He's been struggling today with the driver though, Dennis.
I'm not surprised.
Oh, yep. He's not struggling there. The right to left wind has been okay. The wind off the left is not so good.
Well, I think that's everybody's bugbear, isn't it? The wind off
Yeah.
the left is on your back, it's knocking you into the ball. Very, very difficult.
Paul Casey, now a UNICEF ambassador, and takes great pleasure in that. Doesn't have a club contract anymore, so he's able to play with whatever clubs he wants, and has a UNICEF on the bag, contributes $100 for every birdie that he makes. Sadly, from UNICEF's point of view, he's not going to be contributing very much from this round. Just the one birdie so far. But that money goes towards helping the poor people who are really suffering in South Yemen and Sudan. So since marrying for the second time and becoming a father, it's really quite changed his attitude on life. thinks he's a different person now. And I must say, he has handled himself extremely well today. We've seen him in the past getting very cross on the course. No sign of that today.
No, I think there was a sign that he's a little bit of amazement that they've perhaps not found his ball away on the right. He can't believe that they're still hunting for the ball as he was walking down off the tee. I hope by the time that he gets there they have found it. And it didn't look to be that wild. It was starting off on the right line, just didn't turn right to left. Being only 2 par 5s, if you don't get the drive away, you really do struggle trying to turn of making a score.
That does look very nice at all, does it? That is, could be awful.
Well, not when he's still got about 300 yards or so to go.
Yeah.
But I just want to move that.
How often did you play here, Hutch?
I first played here in 54 and then 61. I played several times. I don't think at least 3, maybe 4 times in the Open.
I just need you out of the way, mate. Sorry, okay. It's all right. I'm just looking down there.
Definitely ours.
It's not embedded. So.
Our ball, yeah?
Yes.
It's hard to know where he is in relation to the fairway, but it almost looks like he was just thinking about coming out sideways there.
I'm not surprised at seeing if the ball there lobbed that one away, but I mean, he's got no stance at all. Really to try and advance it forward, and that wispy long grass.
By the time you get that, it almost comes pretty straight.
Why didn't he put it in the bag for his practice bag?
They don't need them anymore. They've got free balls every week. Brand new, they can hit.
But just so you know.
Oh, I mean, this would be lucky if he gets 30 yards, this thing. I mean, this is like... Guys, you're right in the corner. Could I just...
I see he's actually on the side of the dune, so he's almost going straight down the hole here. So I think he can get it a fair ways down the course. I thought he was actually having to go over the mound. I wasn't quite sure of the orientation of the camera.
It's nearly knee high, that ball. This is almost a baseball swing now.
Thanks, mate.
Well done indeed.
Not so sure he can get home in 3 though.
The joy of links golf, where the changing wind can change holes so dramatically. I think Rickie Fowler's already played.
Even in this very heavy weather, lots of people who come out to watch, and they're seeing some wonderful golf around the golf course and seeing some troubles and travails for some of the players.
Well, it's been 169 so far from Jamie Lovemark. Nobody else has broken 72.
It has been a very, very difficult morning.
See, McIlroy still going along his merry way, though, since the turn. 3 pars. 3 under for the round, the best so far, and that's some golf he must be playing.
Well, when you think about it, back in 32 last evening and out in
31 today.
31 today. I mean, 63 for his previous 18 holes. It's fantastic golf.
Mm. Well, Adam waiting for the green, 280 to go into the wind, so it's going to be some hit. Did hit 290 off the tee, so it's virtually got to hit what he's hit to get to this position again.
Sergio Garcia finishing strongly. Birded 15 and 17, the 2 par 5s. He's on the last at 1 over par for the championship. Masters champion is going to be in quite good shape.
Because it's not meant to get any easier, is it, today?
No.
No.
Well, until the end of the day, the wind is actually due to die down a bit sort of into the evening, but it's also due to be pretty wet then, so it's not going to be much fun.
It's what all the locals want. It's what they get week in and week out.
So they say.
Yeah, testing course. I think, though, the way the championship has been set up, the way the course is laid out and the conditions, it's just about perfect. I think if they'd had very thick rough, as sometimes they've had in the past, with this sort of wind, it would have been really an impossible task to get round. So it's very good. Top marks for the course management. Looks in excellent shape too, nicely manicured.
Yeah, well done to Chris Whittle and his 11 staff for preparing the course in such a great way. It's obviously many more than that come for the actual championship, but that's the basic staff here. Many more come from the Artisans Club here, and each open venue provides a greenkeeper as well.
Yeah, it's amazing how well they all get in and try and help and do things. It's and all the volunteers that come and help at the championship too. It's really very rewarding.
Well, I'm sure all the other open venues learn as well. If greenkeepers come here and see what they do here, can pick up a few tips to take back to their own clubs. Constant learning process. The green is clear. Unleash the dogs.
It's going to be a huge hit.
He was stopped there by caddy Steve Williams, said hold on. Not sure what that was for. Sometimes you just have to wait for a gust to go and it just calms down a little. You might gain a few extra yards.
Fabulous hit.
Well, he's rifled 2 right out of the middle of the bat. Just got it to the front edge, but that's 2 big hits. Full marks to Steve Williams, holding him back there. I think that might have been the right thing to do. In case he can get home, iron in hand. Advanced it down the course much further than we thought. Nearly every single shot we've seen him hit today, the ball seems to have been a little bit below his feet.
He got fortunate there. Very nice bounce for ball. Deserves a bit of luck after the shocking line found off the tee.
Do you always get what you deserve?
No, you know darn well that's never happens in this game.
No. Third shot for Rickie. Laid up in a good position here. A lot of loft in his hands to play this third one. Yeah, very nicely done.
Yeah, the hole couldn't be any further back, could it? 34 paces into the green. So it's right at the back and everything into the breeze, just played at absolute maximum length.
Well, they look like they're out for a friendly three ball on a Friday afternoon, don't they? The way they're chatting down there. And I suppose that's the other great thing about this particular game. You can't concentrate for all 5 hours. You've got a bit of switch it on and off.
Just to remind you that we will be finishing our feature group coverage this morning when these guys have completed the 18th. We're then back at 2:46 local time to follow Henrik Stenson, Siwoo Kim and Jordan Spieth, the joint overnight leader, for their 18 holes this afternoon, which I'm sure they're looking forward to.
Hardly with bated breath, though. You can see a few ripples in the screen, sort of tilts from back to front. And 3 definite tears in the screen, so it's an awkward little chip.
And that flag on that green looks like it's going a little bit limp. It almost would give you the impression the wind is dying, but of course it's in a valley. It's protected on 3 sides by the dunes, so it's not in the full force of the wind. Players might feel it when they get up on the next tee, though.
Really a question here, I suppose, of how much of that he takes out by flying it through the air and how quickly he puts it on the ground.
Well, he looks like a very lofted club there, doesn't he? So maybe trying to throw it all the way to the top tier.
You have to do less green reading if you do that.
True. No. That's what I thought he might try. And he's played a beauty. Well done. And that's one of the tricks. Take a little more loft than you need and turn the loft onto the ball. Make a really good strike and get a little spin. Most players take too little loft and then try and increase the loft in the club. Whereas the good chip then always takes more loft and decreases the loft.
Other people just have lofty ambitions.
True. And the other big trick, of course, is to play the easiest sort of shot always around the green, not the most difficult or spectacular.
Well, it's an eagle putt for Scott. Be some putt to make.
Come on.
This is the hole where Harrington hit the famous 5-wood for an eagle when he was winning in 2008. That was a beautifully executed little chip from Casey. Don't find the green in 2 and then go and 3-putt it, Adam, please. Fowler really has not been top notch with his putting today, and that just a bit sums it up, really. Just a 5. Stays 2 over, going to the last. 76 players on 3 over at the moment as it edges towards a 4 over cut. Top 70 and ties making it.
You can hear that wind.
He was up 2 ridges and all the way up to the hole here, so no wonder Scott left this one short. Still a slow putt here for the birdie. Oh, wow. Good 2-putt.
Excellent.
Second birdie of the day gets him back to 3 over. And I must admit, you go back 4 holes and he looked in serious danger of missing the cut, so that's a tremendous performance.
Be a very good par for Paul.
Every time he's missed, it's been on the right from that range.
And every time he screwed the face open. Coming through very tentative there with the putt.
Yeah, no real strike on the putt, was there?
No. Every time he's holed them, he's holed the ones that have gone in with pace. There's been a flow to the putter. That one he tried to almost guide into the hole.
Why the difference?
Sometimes you just see the putt and you think, well, I just hit it over that blade, but you don't make a stroke at it. You still, even if it was a foot putt, you've got to make a stroke. Got to make a swing of it.
And so to the finishing hole from the high tee, dogleg right. 473 yards, exactly the same distance as it was in 2008, measuring 462 today.
Yeah, and it's going to be a lot bigger hole than it was yesterday when they were coming down the wind. I mean, 2 very good shots you need here again today to find the screen. And you hate being way up when the wind's strongly into you. You just put the ball in there, that's that little bit longer where it can find its way into trouble. Unless it's superbly struck. It's sort of in and from the right, isn't it?
It's more across, I would think, off the tee.
It should be pretty much straight across from the right, I think.
It looked in there and somehow got itself out.
They've done a lot of waiting today. Of course, they're all, well, he's particularly brisk. Doesn't waste any time at all, Rickie Fowler. One of the problems on a day like this where players are carting shots into the rough, having to look for it, lots of weights.
It's going to be the best part of 5 hours by the time they finish.
That's hard work.
4 hours 26 they're officially allowed.
It's put on nearly 40 minutes for the weather. It's a lot. I wonder what that means for the players at the end of the day.
Finish in the dark.
He's supplying torches on the first tee.
The the graphic they showed, the wind right across the players from the right. Stay on the fairway. Oh, for a change the ball listened. Sort of heading towards the bunker.
It's a good smack to get to that bunker, 306 yards. Tee will be up a little bit, so 300 yards. Just a utility iron for Rickie.
Come on, move. Should be good. And is. Casey also using the iron. That's okay.
Two birthday boys, well, not exactly, but Adam Scott celebrated his 37th last Sunday in the Scottish Open, and it's the 40th birthday for Paul Casey today. Certainly going to give himself the birthday present of weekend action. Got up as high as third in the world rankings at one stage in his prime. Currently 16th. Casey coming here in good form, tied fifth in the Travellers Championship, his last tournament before teeing it up here. Heading up towards the famous Art Deco clubhouse that was built in 1935. Club that was founded back in July 1889, although the course here wasn't laid out until the early 1920s. Amazing. Birkdale holds the proud boast of hosting more different championships than any other of the open venues. The only thing that they haven't had that I can see, or just about the only thing of any consequence, is the Solheim Cup. They've had the Walker Cup, the Curtis Cup, which are the boys and girls amateurs. Ryder Cups, they've had the British Women's Open, Senior Open, Amateur Championship, the Ladies British Amateur, the British Boys. No Solheim Cup. Perhaps it'll be a future Solheim Cup venue.
It just goes to show you it is a first-class venue, and it's in a good position in the country too, isn't it? It's right in the middle, easy access for north and south.
Yeah, just thinking, it's ironic actually, because probably of all the open venues, it's been the most liberated female-wise. Women have been very much involved since the formation of the club and have had equal rights from an early stage. So they really should have the Solheim Cup. Quite a lot of the open venues, of course, have not been so welcoming to women until recently.
Very aggressive drive by Adam Scott, leaving him a pretty simple shot to the green. Fowler and Casey, a lot more work to do. 223 for Casey, 212 for Fowler.
And again, they're sort of now they're moving a little this way, so it's a little more into the wind, so it's really going to play a long way.
Bucks in the front, very much in play.
You think just 3-4 yards right of it, try and hold it as much as I can?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, basically 2 white things on the floor, whatever they are.
There's a good picture of the bunkers you talked about, 2 on the left, 1 on the right.
Just a nice one, isn't it? Just
Yeah.
full hold.
Yep.
Well, he's going to try and hold it up in that right to left wind as much as he can. Again, he's got another, maybe only a hair, the ball a little bit below his feet. And this has gone right.
Wouldn't fancy that shot too much. Oh no, he's okay. Actually, he doesn't have to go over the bunker, does he? He's a little short of the bunker. Remember when Sebi chipped between the bunkers all those years ago? The bunker's on the left, of course, as you play the hole.
Long iron required for Fowler. See if he can thread it through this small gap at the front of the green. Nope. But at least there he's missed it on the correct side. If you're going to miss any side, miss it there. Slightly easier bunker shot, bit more room to work with.
Well, Bernhard Langer probably wouldn't agree with you when the last US Senior Open. You remember he left it in there with that same bunker shot.
Yeah.
To Morris, and then took 6 to go into a playoff. And what we find, was it Weeby?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the bunker play is fantastic.
Yeah. Mind you, when Bernhard played it, there'd been a lot of rain. The sand in the bunker was very wet, I seem to remember. And
Correct.
I think he was expecting to get underneath it a little bit more, and it didn't, and hit it into the face, left it in there. Pretty powdery today.
Well, everybody was amazed, and I think Bernhard was even the most amazed.
Good shot, that, isn't it? Shows you the severity of the fairway bunkers here. Scott short of that. The fact that he can't quite see the entrance into the green always makes it a little bit more difficult. See the flag, but you can't see really where the green is and where you should be aiming. And when you're going at the green with a narrow entrance, you do like to see a little bit of the green. Only mid-130s to go, so it's not as if it's a long shot. It's just not much more than a wedge. Ball just sitting in the grass long enough where you're not going to get quite the same control as you would from the fairway.
Good shot.
That was aggressive.
Zach Johnson has just completed the most amazing round, just a few minutes ahead of these guys. He shot 66 with a birdie at the last. Started the day at 5 over, is in the clubhouse at 1 over. And the former Open champion will be very much in the hunt, one suspects, playing like that.
They certainly will. That's terrific. Out in 32 and then birdie 11 and 12. Topped the shot at 16. But it's a great birdie to make this final hole.
How about Jason Day's finish, though?
Yeah, 666 for a 76, 5 over. He might still make it, but it'd be close. Garcia had a 69.
It's an evil finish, though, isn't
it? Garcia bogeyed the last for a 69, 2 over.
And just look at those flags. Yeah, that second shot was definitely much more into the wind than the tee shot, which was more crosswind. With the whole moves from left to right. But what a final hole, and what a stadium. Huge grandstands either side. The clubhouse there. It really is a fabulous place.
The signatures that we were talking about earlier on, Roberto De Vincenzo, 1923 to 2016. Not bad.
Yeah, well, I think when Roberto won at Hoylake in '67, the whole world cheered. What a player. Well, there's a bunker shot for you. And Rickie Fowler, super. Really, your patience is tested on a day like this, isn't it? I mean, if you get irritated, you can take a million.
Well, unless you've got really good control of the ball, you can take a million. If you've got a B game here, or a B minus, you're struggling. If you've got a C game, you've little or no chance.
You're down the road.
Yeah.
These guys teed off at 8:25, which was basically 4 hours and 55 minutes ago.
You're quite right, it's going to take them 5 hours if they're lucky to get on the 5 hours.
Okay, Aim Point and Steve Williams agree, seemingly. Hopefully they're both right.
I think he hit the putt where he wanted to, just the wrong line chosen.
The depressing thing for him is that he's not just missing, he's comfortably missing. But that was a good batting round from Scott because he really did not have his A game. The swing was out of sync. On a par, the last has him round in 74. 3 over par for the championship. And he's been giving himself a very hard time all the way around.
Casey's got a tough putt left now for his par. Missed a little one for a par after a beautiful chip. Haven't been in big trouble off the tee at the par 5 17s.
It's another shot drop for Paul. Not good news for him. Average score today 74.5 so far for the players that have finished, and he's a little worse than that.
Yeah, 77 bogey finish. Started the day 4 under, now 3 over. Not a particularly happy 40th birthday celebration. Rickie Fowler taps in for a really good sand save. The best of the 3 in the end. He finishes at 2 over with a round of 71. Looked at one stage as though it was going to be very good when he suddenly made those amazing birdies at the 6th and 7th. But then 3 bogeys. No more birdies to come. just coming up behind them. Matt Kuchar playing the last is level par for his round, so he's still leading at 5 under. Very impressive performance from the smiling American.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Good luck tomorrow. Well, it makes the guy. Grab your ball. Thank you.
Well, go and enjoy your birthday, Paul. I'm sure there's some sort of celebration and a large cake.